You did it this morning. Maybe at breakfast. Maybe on your commute. Maybe 5 minutes before this video started playing. You talked about someone who wasn't in the room. Not because you're a bad person. Not because you're nosy or mean. You did it because your brain is literally built to do it. In fact, researchers who study human conversation have found something startling. Roughly 2/3 of everything we talk about, in any given day, is about other people. Not the weather. Not politics. Not football scores. People. Who did what, who said what, who's dating who got fired. We call this gossip. And for centuries, we've been told it's a vice, something small-minded, something petty, something we should be ashamed of. But what if I told you that gossip isn't a flaw in human nature? What if gossip is one of the reasons human civilization exists at all? Today, we're going deep into the psychology of gossip, why we do it, what it actually does for our brains and our social bonds, and the surprising science that shows gossip might be one of the most important survival tools our species ever developed. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a conversation the same way again. Let's start by defining our terms, because gossip isn't just saying bad things about people. Psychologists define gossip simply as talking about people who are not present. That's it. It doesn't have to be negative. When you tell a friend, "Did you hear Sarah got the promotion?" That's gossip. When you say, "I heard Tom and Lisa broke up," that's gossip too, even if you say it with sympathy, not malice. Under this definition, gossip isn't rare. It's constant. It's the background hum of almost every human relationship. And here's the first surprising fact: research on everyday conversation, including studies that had people wear recording devices for days at a time, found that most gossip isn't cruel. Most of it is neutral, simply exchanging information about who's doing what. Only a small fraction is the nasty, tearing someone down kind we usually picture when we hear the word gossip. So why does gossip have such a bad reputation, when most of it is actually pretty harmless? Because the negative kind is the kind that sticks in our memory. One cruel comment about a coworker feels more significant than 100 neutral updates about people's lives, the same way one plane crash makes headlines while a million safe flights don't. Our minds are wired to notice threats and drama, so we remember gossip's ugliest moments and forget its ordinary, everyday, connective purpose. Now here's where it gets fascinating. To understand why we gossip, we have to go back, way back, to before written language, before smartphones, before even villages. Back to small bands of early humans living together, depending on each other for survival. In those groups, your reputation was everything. If you were known as someone trustworthy, someone who shared food, someone who kept their promises, you thrived. If you were known as a liar, a cheat, or someone who couldn't be trusted, you could be excluded from the group entirely. And in the ancient world, exclusion from the group often meant death. So how did people learn who to trust and who to avoid, without every single person having to personally test each other through direct experience? The answer: information sharing. Gossip. If someone in your group stole food, cheated a partner, or broke an agreement, the community needed to know fast. Gossip became the original word-of-mouth reputation system, a way of tracking who was cooperative and who wasn't, without everyone needing painful first-hand experience. Some evolutionary psychologists, most famously the British anthropologist Robin Dunbar, have argued that gossip may even be connected to why humans develop language in the first place. Dunbar's theory is elegant. Other primates, like chimpanzees, bond through physical grooming, picking through each other's fur, one-on-one. But grooming doesn't scale. You can only groom one friend at a time. Language, Dunbar argues, allowed humans to groom many people at once, through talking. And a huge percentage of that talking wasn't about hunting strategy or tool-making. It was about each other. Who's reliable, who's dangerous, who's in, who's out. In other words, gossip may not be a side effect of language. It may be one of the main reasons language evolved. Let's bring this into the present. Why does gossip still feel so satisfying today? Because gossip builds intimacy. Think about the last time a friend leaned in and said, "Okay, don't tell anyone, but..." Notice how that felt. There's a small thrill in being trusted with information. Sharing gossip is often a way of saying, "I trust you. You're on my team. We're close enough that I'll let you in." Psychologists call this social bonding through shared information. When two people gossip together, especially when they discover they feel the same way about a third person's behavior, it creates what researchers call value alignment. You're not just exchanging facts. You're confirming, we see the world the same way. We have the same values. We belong together. This is why gossip is so common in new relationships, new jobs, new friend groups. Bonding over a shared opinion about someone else, "Can you believe what he said in that meeting?" is one of the fastest ways two strangers discover they're compatible. Gossip also does something else important. It teaches us the unwritten rules of our social world. When you hear that someone got socially punished for being rude to a waiter, or praised for helping a coworker under pressure, you're not just learning about that person, you're learning what your group considers acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Gossip is, in a very real sense, a moral classroom. It shows us, through real examples, what values our community actually lives by, not just what it says it believes. And there's real science behind why this feels good. Studies using brain imaging have shown that sharing gossip, particularly juicy, interesting information about others, activates reward centers in the brain, the same regions triggered by food, money, and pleasure. Gossiping doesn't just serve a social function. It genuinely feels good, biologically. Now, I promised you this isn't a video defending cruelty, so let's be honest about the dark side. While most everyday gossip is neutral or even positive, the negative, weaponized version of gossip is very real, and very damaging. Malicious gossip is often driven by things like envy, insecurity, or a desire for social status. Tearing someone else down can be a shortcut to feeling better about ourselves, or a way to climb the social ladder by making someone else look worse. Psychologists have also found that people who feel excluded or low in social status are sometimes more likely to gossip negatively, because gossip can become a tool for regaining a sense of control or power when someone feels they have little of either. There's also a well-documented effect called spontaneous trait transference. This is a strange and important finding. When you say something negative about another person, some of that negativity actually sticks to you in the listener's mind, even if you were just repeating what someone else said. If you tell your friend, "Amanda is so lazy," on some subconscious level, your friend's brain associates the word lazy with you, not just with Amanda. In other words, gossip is never free. When you gossip negatively, you're not just describing someone else's reputation, you're quietly shaping your own. So should we just stop gossiping altogether? Realistically, no. Trying to eliminate gossip from human conversation would be like trying to eliminate breathing. It's simply part of how humans process the social world. But understanding the psychology behind gossip gives us the power to do it more wisely. Here are 3 ideas worth remembering. First, ask yourself why you're sharing this. Are you sharing useful, protective information, warning a friend about someone who has genuinely wronged people? Or are you just filling silence with someone else's business because it feels exciting? Second, remember the trait transference effect. The words you use about others quietly become part of how people see you. Speak in ways you'd be comfortable someone repeating back to you. And third, use gossip's positive power on purpose. Praising people who aren't in the room, talking about their strengths, their kindness, their achievements, activates the very same bonding and reputation-building mechanisms as negative gossip, but builds trust and goodwill instead of eroding it. Positive gossip is still gossip. And it's just as powerful. So the next time you catch yourself talking about someone who isn't there, don't rush to feel guilty. You're not broken. You're not petty. You're running one of the oldest social programs in the human mind, a program that helped our ancestors know who to trust, who to avoid, and how to survive together in small, interdependent groups. Gossip, at its core, isn't about tearing people down. It's about understanding our social world, and finding our place within it. The real question isn't whether you'll gossip today. You will. The real question is, what kind of storyteller will you choose to be? If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden psychology of everyday conversation, hit subscribe for more deep dives like this one, right here on StoryMind English. And let me know in the comments, what's the most surprising thing you learned today? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.